Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is to review and approve minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from January 16th, 2024?
Yes.
And some,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from January 16th, 2024.
Second. All those in favor? Next item on the agenda is assigned bills.
I have two bills this evening, one for Beaver Solutions and one for the Community Advocate.
All right, on to meetings and hearings. First item is an RDA, continued public meeting regarding the request for determination of applicability filed by Shrewsbury Trails Committee, 100 Maple Avenue, Shrewsbury, for the installation of 2 footbridges at 48 Walnut Street or Eaton Pond Park. Is there somebody here?
Yes. My name is Melanie McGee. I'm from the Shrewsbury Trails Committee. Can I give you a little narrative?
Absolutely.
Okay. We have a little area there, one at the end of Eaton Place and one at the end of Leonard Parkway that is in need of a footbridge. Actually, it would be a replacement bridge in each case. In one spot, the one off of Eaton Place, it is just a single plank at this moment, and it is inadequate. It's a little scary to cross it, and we'd like to replace that with something a little more substantial. The other one is at the end of Leonard Parkway, and this is a I wouldn't call it historic exactly, but it has an interesting background to it. There is now a kind of a ruin there of an old bridge. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but it's got looks like it was fairly substantial in its time with a lot of brickwork, and there are metal rails in it that we have determined are probably from the old trolley line that was discontinued about 100 years ago. And somebody made a very substantial bridge there. We couldn't quite figure out why until one of the people we had look at it determined there are a couple of gravel pits that are in the area, and that might have been a bridge that would accommodate moving gravel out of there. So I don't know if that's true. It's just speculation, but we are going to leave those ruins in place and would like to put our bridge just alongside it. Let's see, if you can see in the picture, I think you can see the rails sticking out of it, and we want to go to the right of that. And at some point maybe have as a Boy Scout project a little plaque identifying what that is. So the bridge will go along the side, and that's what we plan. Now, we need from you a determination that we are not infringing on wetlands. I think you can tell pretty much that we are, the water level is much lower than the land there, probably 3 or 4 feet easily. I can't imagine what kind of flood that would actually swamp that bridge, if you can envision that. There's another picture that shows you looking down. Yeah, if I were standing in the bottom there, the land surface there would be about shoulder high to me. Okay, so the surface of the water is substantially below where our bridge is going to be, and we don't think we're going to interfere with that at all. Does anybody have any questions for me on this?
So what will you be making the bridge out of? What
Wood.
materials?
It will be wood.
Okay. And
It's, I don't know what else we could hope to use.
and is it like 4 feet wide, 3 feet wide?
We're talking about that, but probably in that range. The other one that's 12 inches wide is adequate, it's adequate if you're extremely agile and daring, but we would rather replace that one as well with something wider. and probably railings, especially on this one.
And it's just gonna rest on the soil that's there?
Well, either there will be, we usually put down a little pad of gravel, and then a couple of, let's see, how does it go? A piece this way, and then the main supports of the bridge rest on that. So nothing that is actually walked on is in contact with moist soil, so it won't rot out.
Okay.
Okay?
Diane?
So I think we usually make sure that the wood has not been treated with chemicals that can leach toxins into the water.
I don't know how we could ascertain that, but we're not planning on using anything in particular that would,
So when you buy the lumber, make sure it hasn't been treated with chemicals.
okay, I will make a note of that.
And I would go for more 4 feet than 3 feet.
4 feet?
Yeah, it is a, someone slipping off of there would be in a lot of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we're hoping for railings. I was considering suggesting that we have some sort of, maybe a wire mesh or something along the edges, but I don't know if that's really, that might be overkill. But we could see, or, you know, palings. So that, you know, it would, lessen the, possibility of a fall.
Yeah, you don't want someone slipping off.
No, no,
Little kid, no.
no. Okay, we'll keep that in mind.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Bobby?
Couple things. One, you say you can put gravel in. I don't want you to backfill any type of the wetlands. You keep the gravel backwards away from the wetlands.
We're talking a
right?
little patch like this, that would just go under the main support beam that is as wide as the bridge, and that has to rest on the ground, and then everything runs perpendicular to that, and then there's another piece that runs parallel to it, but that's where the decking is, okay?
Okay, and the other thing is just keep in mind, I mean, I've seen that stream,
Yeah,
like heavy rains and after the snow melt in the rains, pretty high. Keep
Yeah.
in mind that actually, I mean, you said, I've seen that stream really high over the years. So keep in
I
mind
wouldn't
that
be surprised.
flows. I mean, I know you said right now you're not seeing it because that's pretty low right there. I admit that, but it definitely comes a lot higher than that.
yeah,
At the end of this, and at the end in the spring.
Yeah.
And after heavy rains, that stream comes way high.
And in fact, it may get high because of what has like tumbled down, blocking the water right there.
well, the one little footbridge, the one that's just a foot wide, I noticed there's a lot of former bridge debris in there, and we would aim to clean that out. As I said, we don't want to touch the, I don't know if you could see, looking both ways from that bridge, and you're looking down into the water, you can see old pieces of fencing and planks and odds and ends of stuff that has fallen in there. I don't know who put that plank in there. That is a fairly recent installation, probably within the past, I don't know, 9 months or so, because I don't remember seeing that before. And somebody went to a certain amount of trouble for that, and expense, but it doesn't seem to be quite adequate for what we really would like to see for a public, footpath.
And this will all be done by hand, no machinery, correct?
I don't know, what kind of machinery were you thinking of? I mean,
I'm all by hand, shovels and
oh yeah,
stuff
nothing,
like that.
nothing
No-
like that.
No
I mean,
machine, like not bringing a bobcat in there or an excavator or anything. It's all done
oh
by
God,
hand,
no,
correct?
no, we're not planning on that.
Okay,
That's a little beyond our capability.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Chris?
No additional questions.
Alea?
Kind of what Bob was speaking to, making sure that the with the stone setback, because the big thing is, yeah, we don't want to see additional erosion because the bank edges have been disturbed because stone has been.
Yes, we're
placed
gonna
there.
make the start of the bridge more
A couple
in.
feet
We're not going
further.
right to the edge to start the bridge. That-
Okay,
that-
yeah,
that
so
would be
that
unsound.
I would recommend a special condition and a determination that the bridge do be a couple feet
Yeah,
longer than.
yeah, we already considered that.
Yeah, probably at least 2 feet, a minimum.
Oh, at
back.
least, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
quite a
that they
bit
have
more, probably.
space to install that kind of stone bed without it eroding the bank, because that would be a
Yeah.
detriment to the resource area if
Yeah.
it starts biting into the bank.
Do you want to inspect it when it's done, or while it's some progress or anything?
Yeah, I think that would be good if if you guys could let me know when construction is happening.
Oh, sure.
I know a lot of the times those are on the weekends, but I'd be happy to swing on out and take a look.
Okay. I'll make a note of that.
DEP did reach out with some concerns about any impacts to the bank, but it sounds like the proposal is to kind of
Yeah,
set
we're-
it back enough that it would be.
Yeah, I think we can start it far enough back on both sides to make sure that it's no in danger of crumbling it.
And would this be, how would this be secured to the earth? Is it just kind of going to be plonked onto the bank, or?
In the past, we have taken a couple of rebar pieces and pounded it through and just sort of leveled that on the bottom piece that everything else is fastened to, so that that does not move. I would assume that we would do something similar.
Would the commission be amenable to that?
It's fine.
It should not be terribly movable.
I think that's all the questions I have.
Any other questions from the audience? Any other questions from the commission? All right, so would somebody like to make a,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we issue a negative determination with respect to this request, that the bridges be, with the condition that the bridges be 3 feet longer than the span back from the bank, 3 feet. No pressure-treated lumber, no heavy equipment.
Second?
and notify the agent prior to construction?
And notify the agent prior to construction.
Second.
All those in favor of a negative determination?
Aye.
Aye. You're all set.
Okay, we're good. Thanks so much. We have a couple other projects in mind. We'll be back.
That's great.
Yeah, I have to say, we're on a roll.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, we love our pedestrians, and we are doing everything we can to forward their interests. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. All right, we have a continued meeting regarding the request of determination of applicability filed by Mark Lambert, 41 Campground Road, West Boylston, Mass., for the removal of one tree and trimming of others at 45 Bayview Drive. Is anybody here for this?
I am not seeing Mark. And let me see if he's on the line. He is not on the line.
Okay.
So we'll see if we want to hold this or if they continue.
We'll hold it for one more meeting, and if you don't have any response, I mean,
Perfect.
basically, there was other things that were done here that need to be accounted for too, right?
Yes, yeah,
So, I mean, when you have a chance, you can reach out to them and just let them know our concerns.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we have a new.
Notice is hereby given in accordance with the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Shrewsbury Wetlands Bylaw and Regulations that Cheryl Van Zulen, 93 South Quinsigamon Avenue, Shrewsbury, Mass., has filed for a request for the determination of applicability for the installation of raised garden beds and plantings at 93 South Quinsigamon Avenue.
Hi,
Hi.
and thank you. I want to thank Aaliyah for walking me through this. My husband and I recently moved here from the West Coast, so this is all new to us. And she's been very good at helping.
You're Cheryl?
Yes, I'm Cheryl. I'm the property owner.
Okay.
So, what we're trying to do is, there was an area in the back part of the property that we want to put raised beds in. I've retained the services of an individual who used to work at the Tower Gardens. And the goal is to place in native plants, all raised beds, but it is adjacent to a little brook that is dry most of the year, but it is the drainage from Jordan Pond to Lake Quinsic. It typically is dry from April through December, but it's a brook there right now, and there's need for erosion control, which we're going to take care of. Putting in erosion plants, and again, stay as native as possible. And I did, excuse my drawings, I don't have the really good drawing materials here since we've retired. And then in the front of the yard, there is a pretty severe slope where we see a lot of erosion coming down into the driveway and into the other side. So and there is no current retaining wall in that area, so we're going to put a retaining wall, and again, just to make sure it keeps the soil in place. I was gonna ask you if we did that, about what kind of drainage we would need, if we would need to put in like a French drain or something on that regards. But both of the projects are, want to make sure we're doing them according to the requirements and learning about what those are. So,
So those two areas shown,
correct.
is that how large the planting beds are? Or is
No,
that just
no,
the area
that's
you're going
just,
to be
that's just
working?
so I could outline it. Okay, if you go on to, I guess it would be page 4 of the document. Yeah, this is a length and dimensions. It's like 44 feet by 70 feet. And then where we'd stop planting is about 20 feet to a culvert where the drainage happens. So it is a somewhat triangular area. And we're putting in raised beds and just all above ground, bringing in the additional dirt needed for those beds. And we would have like gravel for walkways in there, that kind of thing. So, and again, staying as native as we can and finding erosion-resistant plants, which is what Mr. Blanchard will be helping us determine.
Okay.
And then the front yard is just putting in the retaining wall and some plants in there, and then, again, native plants type things.
How high is the retaining wall?
Probably about 2 feet at best.
It's a little bit less than 2 feet. It's just under 22
Just
inches.
a knee wall as such, just to
Yeah.
kinda make
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
at the bottom of the slope of some sort.
Yeah.
All right, Diane?
Yeah, what's causing the erosion in the front yard?
Was never really well built. I mean, the house that's sitting there was built in 1827. And they kind of slapped a retaining wall up on the side, but they didn't cover the front part of the house. So whenever it rains, I've noticed that we get dirt coming down from there. So it's just repairing it and making sure it's not getting out of hand. And just trying to make sure that it is maintained as it should be.
Sure. That makes sense. And then in the back, that erosion is happening because in the wintertime, there's water running.
There's water that runs, again, it'll start running again, when the snow starts melting. It just, the banks do get higher. One of the things we have, and I showed a picture of it, but we found a bridge that we're able to get that we can remove. It is a portable bridge and we can store it in our garage. We've got a good sized garage there. So when the water is high, that is not interfering. And it would be placed on little gravel pads. We probably have some rebar to keep it from slipping, but that could be removed as well.
And so the raised beds, are you making those so that they're easier to work with?
Yes, and also because everything in that area there's a lot of root structure in there because, but it's also bringing in the dirt so we can actually put plants in there and amending it.
Okay, so there are a lot of roots in there.
There's a lot of roots that, and again, when I originally was looking at doing this, not knowing any of the rules around here, I was looking at trenching everything out and putting in power and then realized, found out that wasn't quite an option. So, and again, not knowing your rules, but, so we leaving everything there and just raised beds throughout. Some of it is just, what do you call that stuff? It's just like a border that we'd be able to use to put the dirt in. And then we've got some raised beds along the two back fences. If you can see the red in this, the red line in this thing is the raised beds, and they're gonna be about 2 feet tall as well.
2 feet,
Yeah.
2 feet tall.
Yeah, above ground,
Okay.
so it's not gonna interfere.
Resting on the ground, but above the
Correct,
ground.
correct.
And what are you going to make the raised beds out of?
These we'll be making out of what do you call them?
The retaining wall blocks.
Retaining wall blocks?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not something that would decay?
No.
No.
Okay. And they are how far away from the stream?
Let's see. This one, I am guessing with, okay, the one will be like 40 feet from the stream.
That's the,
backs- Yeah.
that's the
backs-
longer one.
The longer one, and then the other one, the stream. I did try to color code these. The blue is the stream, so the one at the bottom, you'll see
Yep.
there, is probably about 10 plus feet from the stream.
Okay, so we have 15 feet, no disturbance,
Okay,
and then another 15 feet, no structures.
Yeah.
Does this count as a structure then? Yeah.
Would, yeah.
So that would be 30 feet that it would have to be set back.
okay.
Wouldn't, you think it counts as a structure?
Well, it's, if you're building out of concrete blocks, it's
Yeah.
kind of permanent.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a structure, but you are bringing in fill, and you are bringing it in an area that, with our bylaw, it's not supposed to be disturbed within 15 feet,
And then the next 30 feet, no structures, so.
no structure. So it's, I guess that's a determination we have to make.
Yeah, with us, we have to discuss that. So at least 15 feet from
Okay.
the
Mhm.
bank,
Correct.
right, which has been, is that a really clear bank? You can just point to it and say, that's
Yeah,
the
that's it.
bank?
You can see it. You can see it with,
Does it ever overflow?
not to my knowledge. It hasn't. I mean, it will fill up, but it hasn't overflown. We've owned the property for 7 years, and my daughter's lived here while she was going to school. So, you know, I know I've never seen it really high when I've been out to visit, and she said she's never seen it that, you know, it'll have like a trickle going through, because it's just basically draining Jordan Pond from that. It's not a huge stream.
All right. Okay, I'm done.
No questions.
Tommy, Chris,
No additional questions.
Aaliyah?
I don't think I have any questions either, no.
And same thing with the front yard too. Leah had us put this on the same permit, but the front yard is just, you know, similar type blocks to stop the erosion. And again, looking at all native plants. And there is, with the front yard, there is a driveway, permanent driveway going in there, right adjacent to it. So, but still, since it is within, that was what, 40 some odd feet from the brook base.
Yep,
So,
okay. That's great. By the way, thank you very much for using native plants. That's fantastic.
well, my husband and I are both pretty avid gardeners, and it's a matter of, you know, you plant what grows in the area, and it's a lot less maintenance, a lot less water, you know, just all kinds of stuff, so.
It's better for the environment.
And it's better for the land, everything about it, so.
Everything, yeah.
So, and again, that's because we don't know the flora and fauna here. We do volunteer at the garden, do a lot of work up there, and retain somebody that works there that knows the stuff that we don't. So that's, mhm.
That's very good.
So getting back to those planting beds and
Uh-huh.
boxes you're going to be, I mean, you are putting something that could be considered permanent within that 30-foot, no permanent structure.
Okay,
Perhaps you don't do that, put something permanent, you could still put your beds in there, but not, I don't know how you would construct that. I
Okay,
mean, you could
well,
plant
with-
things there, but probably not a permanent structure.
okay. Well, with that, because if necessary, these still can be removed because they will not be, you know, they're all above ground. It's, you know, they're interlocking type things, so it, just,
I understand, but, so if you were to sell your property and you left those there, that would be a structure, and if somebody else took that and just dismantled it and leveled all the material out, then that's kind of like you're filling in an area that's within a buffer zone.
okay.
Technically, you are by doing what you're doing.
Okay. So,
It's just something that we have to consider. I mean, I like the idea of what you're doing, I like the plantings, I think it's going to bring some enhancement, but I think by raising it up a few feet above the existing ground and putting blocks and whatnot around that, you are filling in an area within the buffer zone.
okay,
You know, one consideration, you might, I don't know how well it would work, but there are these, I think they're aluminum.
we did consider
That's-
that, but also with the experience with the aluminum planters, is that they do decay pretty quickly, and that was one of the considerations why we went with, went with the stone to start with, because it was, I've seen them where they just start decaying real badly, and so it's, that's one of the reasons, because you wanted something that would maintain its integrity for a longer period of time. And, if it needed to be removed for a house sale, that would be something we could put in our requirements. So,
I think maybe you should look at, especially within the 30-foot buffer area, something that's less permanent.
okay,
And come back with, I mean, I think we're probably all in agreement with putting in native plants is fine. But putting in raised beds and putting something around it is kind of like a filling. So we're not saying no, but maybe reconsider that aspect of it and come
Okay.
back to us next month with something that you could propose. That's a little
Okay.
bit different within that 30-foot area. And I
what
think
would-
between 15 and 30 feet is a bylaw in town.
okay,
So 15 feet, there's no disturb, 30 feet, no permanent structure.
We can get you a copy of the bylaws too, so you can see those.
okay, yeah, that's just, okay. And what about the front? Would the front, any issues with that, where we'd be putting the retaining wall?
I didn't have any issues with the front, did you?
Okay.
Yeah, you said you were 40 feet away.
Oh, yeah, it's 40 feet away
That's-
from the creek
yeah.
with a driveway right next to it and adjacent to it, so,
That seems fair. I mean, it's
Okay.
just the one in the back. I think if you put a little bit more thought into something
okay,
with that, I mean, the plantings are, I think everybody's in agreement with the plantings. It's just how you're gonna get there.
Material of the bed.
what materials would you recommend?
Nothing permanent.
Is there an,
Is there a way of you actually putting in just the plant, put the native stuff in there and hold the bank in solid without putting any permanent structures?
The only issue with that is that, again, you're still gonna have, this is away from the creek bed. And around the side, we were going to do these edgings that are not permanent, so we could have some soil retained. And the erosion control plants would be, can I just, here, maybe go
So
show
you'd be
this.
putting in plants right next to the stream bed?
Above it, because of, not right next to the stream bed. Okay, this is the stream right here.
Yep.
And up above that, having some erosion control plants, and then putting in these little, it's basically just a, portable stretch of different materials that just would allow us to have.
So how close to you are to the stream when you're putting in those erosion control plants?
Just above the bank.
Ah.
Just above the bank.
So that is the, within the 15-foot do not disturb zone.
Because that's where a lot of the soil is coming out. It's eroding, erodes pretty quickly there, so that was what we thought would be a good,
The plant, I mean, I think the plants are fine. I
Okay.
think adding additional soils and additional materials in that area would probably be an issue, because the plants will just grow and it will help
Yeah.
the erosion.
In
Putting
that
a
area-
structure or something in that area, I think is kind of detrimental.
okay. So the structures, okay, because this is about 15 feet back here, this is over 40 feet back here. Again, this is quite a ways back here, it's over 40 feet back here. And I know this is pretty close to like, so you're saying a 30 feet setback.
I think if you come back with something that shows a 30-foot setback and you
Okay.
show what bed you're going to be making that's beyond the 30 feet, I think that's something that we could consider,
Yeah. 'cause it's-
Yeah,
but,
maybe it's a permanent hardscape structure more than 30 feet, and it's something less permanent within 30 feet.
Within 30 feet, because
Maybe
that's
something like that would
actually
be
quite,
okay.
again, sorry about the drawing, it's not
No,
quite
it's-
up to
it's good.
speed, but, because there is a possibility, I know this was like, something like 33 feet from here to here when I was measuring it. So if we went to that 30-foot mark, as long as we're back 30 feet, and as long as we're back 30 feet here.
Mhm.
Okay, and then
and,
working-
and we'd like to know how high these beds are going to be.
How high are they? How high would they be?
20 inches.
So it's 3 courses block?
Yeah, but it's only gonna be 2.
Okay.
That's only 2 with the caps on it.
Yeah, we didn't wanna go terribly high with it, so, okay,
And just show us on the plan that it's beyond the 30 feet
okay,
in
okay,
relationship to where the brook is,
Okay.
and come back to us next month and we'll take a look,
okay,
all right?
Okay.
And you can't plant anything just yet, so.
no,
You
no,
do,
well,
you do have a
that's-
little bit of time.
That is kinda why we're trying to get
Right.
this taken care of
Yep,
now,
you're
so
doing-
when it's,
And we appreciate this too, because gives us a chance to look at it ahead of time, and a lot of these things don't happen this way, it happens after the fact, so.
I,
We appreciate it.
and again, learned about it and said, I think we better back off a little bit.
We'll get there.
Okay, so a 30-foot setback and 30, okay,
And,
I think that's actually pretty doable.
Mhm.
It's a very doable,
and you're gonna ask for a continuance till next month?
yes.
Yes, okay.
Okay. And I'll make up some new drawings for this section.
Thank you.
And Aaliyah, do I just submit them to you directly?
Yep.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Another new hearing. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Shrewsbury Wetlands Bylaw and Regulations that John DiCio, 57 Bayview Drive, Shrewsbury, Mass. Has filed a notice of intent for the repair and replacement of existing retaining wall at 57 Bayview Drive.
Good evening.
Hello. I'm Olivia Keaton from Graves Engineering with a notice of intent. So the property, 57 Bayview Drive, is a single-family home with a stone retaining wall abutting Lake Quinsigamon. The wall is in disrepair from just age and repeated wave action exposure, and the project proposes repairing a 425-foot section of the wall. It's obviously along the bank and the FEMA flood zone, hence the notice of intent. The repairs consist of filling in damaged areas with mortar and imported stone. There wouldn't be any changes to the physical footprint, height, or shape of the wall. The impact to the resource areas are temporary, just for access to the wall itself. It would just be foot traffic. The repairs would be done by hand during the lake drawdown period. We did receive a DEP file number with a couple of comments from the DEP. The first is that we filed as a Category 1 project, which is because it's a single-family lot. The DEP recommended we include Category 5 as well for being the repair of a structure along a resource area, which would be the shoreline. This would be an additional $1,700. We've seen similar projects like this that have not required Category 5, but as the DEP recommended that we may want to refile with that, we're deferring to the Commission regarding the filing fees.
Okay. So, the wall, where it is, in looking at your detail, it says you're going to take the wall apart in place, repodge it, rebuild it in kind with the same stones, or add additional stones to it.
No, we would not be removing any of it. It would be, the existing wall is where it is in whatever state of disrepair it is. Then it would be filling in parts. Like say that there was a hole in the middle of the wall, we would be filling in that hole. We wouldn't be taking anything out and putting new things. We would not be rebuilding the wall, just filling where it's been broken.
All right. Repair wall with imported stones in similar size and shape and type to existing material. Fill loose and missing areas with stone and mortar by hand. No changes to the wall height and dimensions. Okay, that's essentially what you said.
Yes.
And you won't be cutting any trees down?
No.
Diane?
So the trees are not in any way damaging the wall, the root systems?
No. It's just simply because the wall has been there for a while and it's just repeatedly being hit by the water.
Okay. Do you know exactly when the work would be done?
We would be during the lake drawdown period.
Which is,
Is right now. We're hoping to get a move on for it for his.
I'm sorry.
It's going to start to come up, I would think, this month, so
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
next season.
Really depending on how soon we could get a contractor up for that. I know we were delayed on getting the approval because of the DEP filing number.
Okay, so probably next season.
I know you say, because I've been down there, I'm very familiar with the area. There's several trees, I mean, right at the edge of that, I think is causing damage to the wall, and you're not gonna touch those at all. The ones actually they're like right against the wall, that are pushing the wall out, and something, do you have no intentions of doing anything with those?
No, we're not touching any of the trees at all.
Okay, that's fine, yeah, okay, I mean, other than that, I mean, the wall, looking at the wall, it definitely needs some repair, so I agree that, it's, for resources, it's better to have it fixed than have it fall into the lake, so, thank you.
Chris?
No questions.
Alea?
Yeah, I don't think I have any questions.
Just
Sorry.
one more.
Diane?
Are you gonna be using filter fabric behind the wall?
Oh,
That would be fun. No, we would just be filling in with the stone and mortar, mimicking what's already there.
I don't know myself if that affects the quality of the wall.
I would say that the wall that's been there, has been there for quite a long time, and if
100
they
years
rebuild
about.
it in kind, it would probably stay there just as long.
Okay, great.
Anybody from the audience have any questions? Any other questions from the commission?
No.
no.
All right, so I guess we'll close this hearing.
Thank you.
We have another new public hearing. Notice is hereby given in accordance with provisions of General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Shrewsbury Wetlands bylaw and regulations, that Jacqueline Cruz, 221A South Quinsigamon Avenue, Shrewsbury, Mass. Is filed notice of intent for the removal of a shed and construction of a garage at 221 South Quinsigamon Avenue.
Good evening, folks. This is Scott Jordan from Ecotech. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
How are you?
Good.
Great. I think we may have Chris Adcock, the
He is here.
project. Oh, great. He is the project architect. He's kind enough to join us tonight. So this project, Aaliyah, you got my abutter notices, correct?
I will double
I think I emailed,
that
I think I emailed those to you a while ago.
Yes, I do believe so.
Great. So this project is a proposed garage. We were on the property in October and delineated a BVW boundary in the eastern part of the site. It's at the toe of a very steep wooded slope in the backyard. The majority of the site consists of the existing house and a level lawn area. There we go. Thank you, Aaliyah. So we have the BVW on the page right there in the eastern portion. You can see as a steep slope back there, it's wooded. And then we have the level lawn area up top, the existing house. The proposed attached garage is shaded. The project consists of construction of the attached garage and removal of the shed along the southern boundary there. There's really no grading proposed. We, of course, have an erosion control barrier, or we're showing a wattle since we're up on the flat area there. I've calculated the garage will be about 87 feet from the wetland at its closest point. The limit of work there is about 54 feet at its closest point along the southern boundary. And that's the extent of the work. Again, really no grading necessary. We are aware there's some shallow ledge there, and I think Chris could speak to that, but the intent is just to kind of tie into that. And if you had any questions, I can try to answer them.
All right, Chris, do you have anything to add?
No. Regarding the ledge, we're not planning to dynamite. We'll just, either saw cut the ledge. We're not trying to go down into the ground, just minimal foundation walls as the earth's exposed. We'll just pin to ledge where we can. We'll saw cut and maybe minimal rock splitting. No dynamiting or anything like that.
So the foundation's just a 4-foot crosswalk?
Yes.
And all the materials will be taken away?
Yes.
Excess. Diane?
I know that you're aware of the violation of the trash back at the back of the property.
The back of the property has been cleaned up.
It has been, very good.
So
Okay.
if you want to make it a condition or something, maybe when the snow melts, come by and visit, and
Okay. All right. No, I do not.
we're
have
open
any
to that too.
Other questions?
Bobby? Chris?
What's the construction of the shed? I didn't see that.
Oh, the construction.
Frame?
What's that?
The shed that's being,
It's just a wood framed
Wood framed,
structure.
Yes.
Maybe rotted or something. It's just in the way of the new structure.
all right. No additional questions. Thank you.
Aaliyah?
Yeah, I would just recommend special conditions related to, I can head out and take a look and just make sure that all materials have been removed. You might consider, some kind of signage or something along the rear. Is there a fence installed at the rear yard?
I have not seen it. Maybe perhaps there might be. It's
Yes,
been a little while.
I believe
Looks
there
it in the
is.
video.
Sorry?
Looks like it's,
Yes, yeah, you're correct. So yeah, maybe installing some signage along that fence saying, hey, this is a resource area beyond, don't,
No filling?
yeah. Scott might have some recommended language associated with that. I'm sure you've seen signage like that installed before along wetland edges.
No throwing
Yeah,
debris.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, with a attention to detail, or attention to no deposition of debris, something along that line.
All right, we'll make that a condition,
I think we could, receive a detail related to that after the fact.
okay? Any other questions? Any questions from the,
Is that about 221 South Quincy?
yes, you just need to come up and state your name and address. At the mic, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
My name's Roseanne Longo. I live at 223 South Quincy, and I am the closest abutter to the property that's proposing for a garage. And I apologize, I've never been to one of these, I have no clue, but I needed to come and at least see what's going on. I'm a little confused on where the garage is actually being built. I'm also confused as the shed that's being taken down is actually part of it on my property line. So I want to make sure that it's not being encroached. Also, I'm concerned about the wetlands and the conservation property behind me, because the people at 221 South Quincy had violated or put debris and such on the wetlands that was trickling down the hillside into the wetlands, into my property as well. It has since been removed, but if they're removing that shed, where are they going to put stuff next? That's my concern.
Building a big garage for it. If you want to go back to the plan, I was thinking that, I was maybe under the impression that they bought the property with the trash on it, but, maybe that's another story for another time, but, so it's been cleaned up. The garage is in front of the shed.
Can you show
The
her,
bigger s-
Chris,
Yeah.
right up there so she understands?
So this is the current, this is the property line right here.
Yep,
This is
and
the
it's
shed,
right on my
and it's
line.
right here. So that will be removed.
Right.
And then this will be, so they'll be moving away from your property line.
Okay, and what type of a foundation is that gonna
It's
have?
gonna be a frost wall foundation,
All right.
frost wall foundation, 4 foot down foundation.
Okay, they gonna do any blasting or anything?
We're not planning to do blasting. We'll have to, saw cut the stone.
Okay,
as-
and so
as
what, the
needed.
driveway's gonna go in this way, and this is coming over close to the property line, but not
And it's
on it?
within the setbacks. It's like a 10-foot setback,
Okay,
but we don't wanna blast.
okay, because are you aware that the
There's a
people that-
stone that's exposed, and we see that. and
Yeah.
That's right about the level of, the garage slab, so it might be about 2 inches up from there, so we don't have to really scrape too much off.
Can you just go by the mic so everybody can hear? So are you all set? Did he answer your question?
Just, we'd love to we wanna make everybody happy too.
So much, so, I mean, he did answer part of the questions as far as where the garage was gonna go, because I couldn't tell from what I have. I just know that the shed that they'll be taking down is gonna be off of my property. As long as the driveway or however they're gonna get in there is not gonna be, any closer to me.
Sure.
Unfortunately, we're very close on that side.
Well, it seems like the shed's gonna be removed and disposed of properly, and we're going to put a condition in to remove any debris that has been left over in the back. And then we're
Okay.
going to ask them to put signs along the fence saying no dumping or filling of the conservation area.
Okay, I would appreciate that. Thank you very much for your time again. I apologize.
Don't
I'm a
apologize.
rookie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, so I guess we'll close this. We'll close the hearing. All right. We have a continued public hearing regarding the notice of intent filed by 223 Hartford Legacy LLC, P.O. Box 812359 Wellesley, for the site work associated with the construction of industrial buildings at 223 Hartford Turnpike. Good evening.
Good evening. For the record, John Grenier with J.M. Grenier Associates. We've made some modifications to the plans based on comments from your board, as well as making sure that we meet all of the DEP stormwater standards. I can give you a quick overview. The project, as you know, it's on the north side of Route 20. For reference, it's kind of across the Market Basket, right before you get to the lights at Lake Street. It's an existing commercial property that over the years has been used. There's an existing cross-dock building at the center portion of the site, and it's been used historically commercially. There have been storage of tractor-trailer trailers on the site over the years. The condition of the site right now is probably about at least 2/3 of the site right now is just bare, it's flat, it has asphalt grindings on it, and there is absolutely no stormwater management on the site right now. We've been out to the site over the years, and when there's been large storm events, sometimes it puddles up and then it'll blow through some of the berms, and so then it just washes right out into the wetlands. So with this proposed development, what we are proposing is to construct 2 commercial buildings on the property. Both of them are outside the 100-foot buffer. The only work within the buffer zone is really just to formalize the edge of pavement, install curbing, and subsurface drainage so that all of the runoff that is coming off of the site right now, that will be controlled and contained, and it will be treated and recharged into the ground. So we are obviously maintaining all of the 15-foot no disturb, 30-foot no build. We're capturing, treating all the water, making sure that we meet all the stormwater management guidelines for the volume of water and the quality of the water, make sure that we have all of our TSS removals of stormwater. So in terms of environmentally, it's a much better plan. We're taking what is kind of a historically old commercial industrial site, and we're going to bring it up to current standards for DEP stormwater, both stormwater quality and infiltration into groundwater. The questions or comments that you had at the last meeting were you wanted to make sure that, particularly on that southeasterly side, or along the border of the wetlands, that there wouldn't be any potential pushing of snow off there and piling of snow in that area. So I'm talking with my client. What we're proposing is to install a 6-foot high chain link fence so that there'll be a permanent barrier. They're not going to be having heavy machinery or loaders dumping snow in that area. And we have a dedicated snow storage area on, as you see it on the sheet right there. You see the commercial building that's off property to the left? In that area, we're going to have a dedicated snow storage area. So that's hundreds of feet away from any wetlands, and that's a good place to store any snow on the site. Additionally, I know, Ken, you had asked us to extend some of the erosion control, so we extended that all along parallel to Route 20, as you see it along the bottom. So we're extending that all the way out to where the existing entrance is. And in the back left, we had stopped the erosion control right before we got outside the 100-foot buffer, so we extended that erosion control as well. One other item that was brought up, and it was brought up by the DPW, to make sure that we have enough test pits in the areas of the recharge, so that we know that under DEP stormwater management, for every 5,000 square feet of subsurface area, you're supposed to have at least 2 test pits. So we have one subsurface area that's a little over 5,000 square feet. The other 2 are a little over 7,000 square feet. So even with the frost in the ground, we went out last week and we dug additional test pits to make sure we had adequate testing, and we were out with Graves Engineering. So there were no surprises. The depth to groundwater and the material was consistent with what we had found before, but we just wanted to make sure that we had adequate testing within those areas. So we're confident that the sizing, the elevation, and whatnot for the subsurface recharges are going to be adequate, because we have found the same consistent material out there. I did speak with Aaliyah this afternoon, and she asked for, in addition to the fencing, if we put some signage up just to make sure. So we're fine with that as a condition of approval. As you know, there was an ANRAD done for this, which locked in the wetland line and the resource areas. So we're confident that we're obviously more than the 15-foot no disturb, 30-foot no build, and we have good protections to the resource area, both during construction and after construction in the long term. So I think that's the long and short of it. If there's any other additional questions or comments, we'd like to address them.
Diane?
I have a couple questions. Yeah, one of them is there an invasive species management plan along the forest edge?
If there are invasive species, we don't know if there are or there aren't, but we have no problem having our wetland scientists go out when they're going out to the site, mobilizing that if there are invasives, that they are removed. I know this is a site, to your point, this is a site that has been disturbed and worked over the years, so there could be the potential. I know that Ecotech was out at the site when they had flagged and did an investigation of the entire site as part of the ANRAD. I don't know that they had flagged anything for anything invasive, but We don't have a problem having a consultant go out and if there are invasives out there, when they're out there, you know, mobilizing to remove those.
Okay. And then, one of the DEP comments, you've looked at these, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, the difference between the total square footage used to calculate required recharge volume for standard 3 and required water quality volume for standard 4, they're different amounts of
Yeah,
square feet?
between the impervious area between the roof and the pavement, that was the delta, but we added in the total impervious area for that, and either way, we make it with the bumped up or the higher number.
Okay, all right, that's great. And the possibility that there's a vernal pool located on the site, so we can consider whether there would be a special condition requiring an assessment of that? That's just listed in the DEP.
Yeah, and we looked, there is, on the state's website that there is a potential vernal pool out there. And at the last meeting, I know I spoke that the previous owner decades ago had dug
Dug it
an
out.
area out and created.
Is that the area that they're talking about?
I believe so.
Well, it has, I mean,
And when I say
I don't
previous, I'm
work for the
talking
state.
like in the sixties.
yeah, I don't work for the state, and I've only been there once, but there were bullfrogs in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think that that qualifies if they're bullfrogs, but we could discuss that. Okay.
Yeah, and I know, obviously, you know, Ecotech had done the assessment, and they had filed for, you know, all the resource areas on site. And I believe, I was talking to my client this afternoon, that as part of that process, they said they could go out and take a look at it. That's the feedback I got from my client, so.
I have no further
Okay.
questions.
Chris?
No, thank you.
Leah?
We have a condition that we have written before related to seeking that an applicant look to verify or submit to or certify a vernal pool. We can always include that as a special condition.
Yeah.
The last question was somewhat related to lighting. A lot of the times, the planning board will do a more in-depth review of lighting proposed on a site to confirm that it's dark sky compliant. I would recommend possibly a special condition related to, during my discussion with John, we kind of discussed that the majority of the lighting will be associated with the buildings, more like security lighting than anything else. But I would recommend a special condition that should any lighting be installed in the parking lot, either a distance to the wetland be maintained, or making sure that lighting is solely focused on the parking lot so that no additional casting is going into the resource area.
Okay,
And we're fine with that.
okay. Anybody in the audience have any questions? Any other questions from the commission? All right, so I guess if there's no other questions, we can close this. Okay, we'll
Okay.
close it.
Great, thank you very much, appreciate your time.
New public hearing. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Shrewsbury Wetlands Bylaw and Regulations, that Erica Larner, on behalf of Mass DOT Highway Division, 10 Park Plaza, Room 7360, Boston, Mass., has filed a notice of intent for roadway improvements, including roadway reconstruction and widening and reconstruction of a shared use path along Route 20 from South Street Connector to Route 9 Connector.
I'm gonna have you pause for a second. You can continue sitting.
Okay. Because I can stand, you know.
Just while I get these monstrosities to where they belong.
Oh, my God.
No worries.
I don't want one.
You don't want this?
I'll just put one down. I have to go to it. I will. I'll look at Bobby's screen.
Yeah.
Apologize for the length of the plans.
Uh,
Should have seen me carrying them into town hall, all four of them. That was quite the sight.
No, don't take it off.
All right, you ready, Leah?
I think so, yes.
I'm ready.
All right. I'm Marissa Cipher, I'm H&TB, representing Mass DOT.
Colin White, also from HNTB. I'm the project manager. We also have
Jeff Watton, HNTB, Drainage, Utilities.
And I'm Kevin Thompson. I'm with MassDOT Environmental.
Okay.
So we do have a little presentation just to kind of walk through the project with you tonight. Do you happen to have that handy?
Let me stop sharing for a moment. Where did it go? Just pull it up on here. Huzzah. Share. There we go. Okay, sorry. There you go.
No worries.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So just to walk you through the project, I just want to introduce the project to you, the purpose and need, the existing conditions on site, what we're planning on doing, the project impacts we're assuming, mitigation, and then regulatory compliance overall. Go to the next slide for me. So the project is essentially 1.26 miles long, starting at the Green and South Street intersection in Shrewsbury and extending into Northborough, just over the line. We did appear before the Concom in Northborough and received a negative determination for that portion of the work. But our project purpose here tonight is to discuss the improvement, traffic operations, and safety along Route 20. Our goal is to reduce vehicle speed, minimizing existing and projected congestion, improving bicycle and ped accommodations consistent with Mass DOT's 2013 Healthy Transportation Policy. This will include roadway widening and grading associated with the cross-section improvement, the installation of a shared use path and sidewalks, 2 roundabouts, drainage improvements, and some culvert extensions and replacements. Slide. In terms of existing conditions, we did a wetland delineation back in 2021 and then re-verified in 2025. We determined that there's 12 BVWs along the corridor, 4 water bodies, including 3 intermittent streams, and then 1 perennial stream named Little Bummets Brook. Little Bummets Brook also has a 200-foot riverfront area associated with it, and obviously the buffer zones as well. There is no 100-year floodplain, so no BLSF throughout the site. All right, so strap in. We have a lot of things we're planning on doing. So in terms of proposed roadway reconstruction and widening, we're going to add a new 11-foot lane on the eastbound travel lane from the South Street Green Street intersection to LL Flooring's driveway. We're going to add 2 left turn lanes and then 2 two-lane roundabouts, one being at Avalon Way at the LL Flooring driveway, and then at Valente Drive in the Shrewsbury Village driveway. Additionally, we'll have center raised medians to separate eastbound and westbound to reduce left turn crashes. And then we'll add on the eastbound side a 8 to 10 foot shared use path and then a 5-foot wide sidewalk along westbound. And then we will also have traffic and intersection improvements. We'll have traffic signal reconstruction at Route 20, Green Street and South Street. Installation of a signalized ped crossing across Route 20 at the Commons Drive and Sunbelt rental property, and modification of the approaches of the remaining side streets to channelize a right turn only in and out. In terms of proposed stormwater improvements, we're proposing deep sump catch basins at each of the new proposed catch basins. We're going to install grass buffers along the edge of the project corridor and medians. In terms of SCMs, we're going to have a line detention basin located north of Route 20 near Walnut Street, and an infiltration basin located north of Route 20 toward the western project limits. Both SEMs will have a sediment forebay for pretreatment, and we will be reconstructing an existing detention basin located at the LL Flooring driveway. You can go to the next slide. In terms of stream crossing replacements, we are proposing 2 stream crossing replacements. You can see at the kind of top of that map, there's Little Bummets Brook there. We'll be replacing both of those culverts just due to the need. The first one is near Walnut Street across, and then across from Avalon Way. It's hard to see in that map. But culvert A is the top one that is near Walnut Street. Basically, that image shows that there's 4 24-inch RCPs. That will be replaced with a 3-sided box culvert. Culvert B is it's a 24-inch pipe that enters a closed drainage network. And we're essentially just matching the 36-inch on the downstream side. It's culverted from way up and down past 98.4 Hartford Turnpike, I believe. Culvert C, which carries an intermittent stream, is going to be extended 27 feet as well, just to accommodate the roadway widening. Go to the next slide. That all being said, our project impacts, we have impacts to BVW, land underwater, bank, the buffer zone, and riverfront area as well. In terms of mitigation, we intend to have erosion and sediment controls throughout the project corridor during construction. We will need a NIPD's construction general permit because as the fact we're disturbing more than an acre of land. The project will reestablish and establish vegetation along proposed sidewalks and shared use paths through the project, spreading loam and burrow and native seed mixes, plantings with trees and shrubs throughout. The SCMs, of course, and in compliance with the performance standards for BBW, we will be doing wetland replication at a ratio of 1.67 to 1 near 98.4 Hartford Turnpike. Hartford Turnpike. Essentially, it's a 431 square feet emergent marsh, which will involve seeding wetland seed mix, and then a 3,833 square foot forested scrub shrub wetland, and that will be planted with high bush blueberry, willows, winterberry, and different species of maples. Everything will be native.
Sorry, sometimes there's a delay and sometimes.
That's okay. I'm trying to follow along with my screen as well. So, in terms of under the Wetlands Protection Act, we do qualify as a limited project for a couple of them. So we're either fully meeting or meeting the performance standards to the maximum extent practicable. In terms of the Massachusetts stream crossing standards, we're meeting also due to the limited project status, maximum extent practicable due to site constraints, financial considerations for culvert A, and then culvert B, we're matching the size of the outlet, and the only other alternative would result in impacts to adjacent private property. All right, and then with that, any questions?
That's fine. I know that there were some DEP comments. Did you answer those? Or?
We have initial responses. We'll be formally responding, and we didn't have a time to adjust the plans, but we acknowledge them, and we are working on completing them.
Okay. Diane?
Oh, well, that was my question.
Oh, I stole your question?
I stole it.
All right. Bobby?
No questions.
Chris?
No questions yet.
Aaliyah?
I am somewhat recalling another culvert located kind of, let me see if I can pull up a map. Kind of in front of 864 Hartford Turnpike. I don't know if there's any proposal or if that is a culvert, if there's any proposal to repair it.
864
Let me,
is the
Let me map
wetland
it.
replication area.
okay,
Or, I'm sorry, 824 is the replication area.
Yeah.
864 is the CJ trucking, I believe. So that's this one here.
Yeah.
That's where this, I think the stream comes from
Yes, yep.
the large wetland area and then goes underground.
yeah, it
Yeah.
goes and crosses, it crosses south, doesn't it? Crosses to the,
It
there's a lot of water
continues
through here.
parallel to Route 20.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
all the way down to past the Avalon Apartments.
okay.
Um,
And outlet's kind of near
outlets.
Walnut?
Before then,
This
Crosses
section
under.
Probably, okay.
yeah, so that's all underneath until, there's an MLS property.
I think they're replacing that one.
I mean, across the street, I don't think they mentioned that.
You can ask.
Quick question for you. Where Willikers is, it's a restaurant right at the corner of Walnut Street. There's a culvert and wetland right there.
Yeah,
You're gonna replace that, also come across to Walnut Street on the other side where it's on the westbound side, that you're replacing both those culverts, or just the one on the
Just the
westbound
one
side?
on the Willikers side, so the one on Route 20.
yeah.
You don't have to enter on the westbound side of 20, right at Walnut Street, comes in like the old Shrewsbury Village, there's a culvert that comes under the water there.
Yeah.
It goes up under, comes up the street towards the.
Not the culvert that runs under Walnut Street, just
Okay.
the one that runs under 20.
Thank you.
So, when I talk to other people outside of this room and try to explain this project, because I know that's gonna happen, is it fair for me to say that this is about 1.25 miles long, and that it's going to improve both walking and biking, yeah, which people really care about,
Yes,
and that there will be 2 roundabouts, which will both slow down traffic and make it so that our traffic is safer.
yes, absolutely, that's
Okay.
correct.
And that there's going to be an improved traffic signal, and that there will be channelized right turn only to prevent a certain amount of left turn crashes?
Well, it's more that we've proposed these 2 roundabouts, right?
Yep,
And what they help do is facilitate turning movements, because in between the roundabouts, we're gonna median separate the road.
right.
And that median is, won't allow left turns either
Yeah.
into driveways or left turns out of driveways, significantly improving safety.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if we have any channelized right turns necessarily. It's just that you're gonna have to take a right turn if you come out of a driveway
Okay.
or even Walnut Street.
Okay, that's great. I
Mhm.
understand it better, thanks.
Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything else?
I'm sorry, where's the replication? Is this where the replication area is?
It's 824.
It's,
Okay.
yeah, it's here, so
Yeah.
it'll be right abutting that wetland there, kind of where your cursor is.
Okay,
Yep.
Yep.
okay. This was a privately owned parcel historically, correct?
That's a privately owned parcel.
Okay. How does that work? How do you make it a wetland?
We take temporary easements
Yeah, there you
and
go.
do the work.
Okay.
And, they get compensated.
Okay.
It's already a wetland, it's pretty wet in there anyways.
It is-
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
it's-
just expanding.
It's already a wetland there, I mean, it's all water in there.
Okay.
Well, he did, that gentleman did come before us, and there was an order of conditions for him to put a building in, so I'm sure that the state is probably purchasing that and doing something like that with the owner, correct?
Correct, yes, I believe the state
The
is.
property owner had also been having, the property owner who owns the trucking business next door, I think historically owned that parcel.
Yes.
He was having beaver issues for a long time and showed me maybe a cesspool or a septic tank. He showed me a hole in the ground that had a lovely, pallet over the top of it. I don't know what the hole in the ground was,
Mm.
and if it was actually verifiably ever a cesspool or a septic, but it might be something for consideration prior to sticking a wetland there. Yeah, just
I-
making sure there's not
I do know that,
a big concrete thing in the ground.
yeah, I do know they have a septic tank that's kind of probably in front of that building, maybe underneath where the cars are.
Yes,
You see
yeah.
ar-
It seems
around
like
there.
they've kind of expanded and put
So-
septic tanks in several locations across those properties.
Um,
But
but-
when he wanted a beaver removed from the property, the septic tank came into play, because
yeah.
inundation could have been happening if
Yeah.
it was actually a septic tank.
MassDOT is providing a sewer line to his property
Wonderful.
to tie in.
Cool.
So,
That will definitely reduce some of those impacts to the wetland there.
yeah.
I would recommend a special condition relating to some protections for that replicated wetland area, just so that there's not a desire to dump into it or to have any disturbance in the future. I know there are frequent beaver conflicts in that area, so I don't know how deterrents would be put in place to prevent folks from just kind of trampling through your brand-new sparkly wetland to remove a beaver or anything, but just a consideration might be made into if something can be installed to kind of.
Is it right at that culvert? Is that?
Did-
We
Yeah,
talked
there's
about
a-
this a while ago.
there's
Yeah,
a
it-
dam.
it
It's
is.
shifted a little further. The wetland is shifted a little
Yeah.
further away.
Mhm.
It's kind of where that open space. If you go back
Sorry.
to the previous aerial imagery there,
Okay.
you see where it's more open
Mm-hmm.
there along Route 20.
Yeah.
It's closer to there, so it's shifted
Okay.
a little further away, so they would still have access to that culvert without going through the wetland.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there have been some impacts on the trucking side to kind of access the, you can get a really good shot of the beaver dam that's been installed, of the beaver's dam that he installed, there. And I know there have been some impacts from the trucking area to access that dam, so I just want to make sure that there's
Yeah,
not future impacts to the resource areas.
Yeah. No, we should be far enough away that they should still be able to have access.
Will that directly connect to that wetland eventually, or, okay?
It definitely will. We're using the same elevation as that existing wetland and then grading up to the forested slightly, so
Okay.
we should be connected directly to it.
Cool, okay. I think that's all the questions I have for now.
Yeah, how long would this work take?
Construction,
Yeah,
a number of years at least. Could be 3 or
2,
so,
3.
4 through 4 maybe. But, you won't really know until the project is bid on and the contractors will be required to submit a schedule.
Is it gonna be a raised roundabout, or is it gonna be flat? Other words, you're gonna have something in the middle of it, or is it gonna be
Oh.
flat, so if the trucks go around, they would
Yeah.
not have a problem?
Yeah, there will be a landscaped area in the middle.
Like a raised?
Yep, it'll be raised.
Okay.
Yep, and it'll have a number of bushes, or I'm not exactly sure what type of
I could look.
things are in there, but
There's definitely trees and
that's
shrubs.
required for sight lines. Like if you're driving up across, you want to see something in your
Right.
way so that you go around, But then there will be the 2 lanes, kind of as you travel along Route 20, and then just like a 3-inch raised apron for the trucks so that, they can make the turns as well when the trailers drag.
Yep. All right, so, any questions from the audience? So I guess we'll probably want to hear from the DEP and hold this over until we can get the comments incorporated, and then if there's any changes to the plans, at least you can submit on a full set of DEP comments and whatnot.
Sure.
So we'll hold this for another month, is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll continue this till our next meeting, which is March
17th.
17th. Okay?
Thank you very much. Do you need a hard copy again, or is digital fine for submission?
Probably just one hard copy of the
Okay.
revisions, just so, yeah, we don't need more, substantially more of those.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you then. All right,
Next one's continued.
Yep.
Then we have another new hearing. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Shrewsbury Wetlands Bylaw and Regulations, that Sam Adams, on behalf of Spagtacular LLC, 378 Maple Ave, Shrewsbury, Mass., has filed a notice of intent for the construction of 8 commercial/retail buildings, 5 residential use buildings, and associated access drives, parking areas, and utilities at 331 and 335 Maple Avenue.
Good evening. Tim Hayes with Bowler Engineering, on behalf of the applicant and owner, Sam Adams, who's with us tonight. I'm going to share my screen, Lee, if that works.
Go for it.
Okay.
Let me know if you don't have host capabilities.
I don't think I have the capabilities. Are you allowed to?
Let
you have
me
to-
see if I can make you capable of that. Do. How do I do that? That is co-host.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Do you have a copy of yours?
Yeah.
So the project site is located at 335 Maple Avenue. It's bound by Oak Street on the east side, Route 9 on the south, and west on the Maple Avenue on the west side, along with the National Grid power line property to the west as well. The wetland scientist, Lucas Environmental, did some flagging on the site over the past couple of years here, and they've identified a number of resource areas on the site and adjacent to the site that have buffers and resource areas on the site. So going through those one by one on the site, they identified isolated vegetated wetland, which is actually just behind the existing Spags building, which I'm kind of hopefully circling here with my cursor. That is jurisdictional, obviously, under your bylaws, not necessarily under the state bylaws, with a 100-foot buffer and the 15 to 30-foot no disturb and no structure, respectively. And then in addition, off-site, but actually, there's a 100-foot, there's BVW, subordinate vegetated wetland, off-site on the neighboring power lines site, which has a 100-foot buffer onto the Spag site. And then in addition, the wetland scientist noted that there's the beginnings of the Meadowbrook perennial stream, which is actually south of Route 9. So at the head wall, that perennial stream begins and actually throws a 200-foot riverfront area onto the stream kind of southwest corner of the site here. That stream begins there. It is not on the north side of Route 9. Here's some photos of the site today. Essentially, the site is developed on the Spags portion of the site. The upper portion of the site is generally undeveloped today. It is abandoned, the building. It's generally just pavement or concrete paved areas that are generally have weeds growing through them, as you can see here. Just kind of a snip of what's going on that side of the site where there are jurisdictional areas. So from a process standpoint, we filed with the planning board 2 separate planning board actions for the site has been subdivided into 2 kind of pieces, one under the Lakeway Overlay District on the north side for residential and a mixed-use component for the grocery pad here. On the south side, it's just a commercial development with the 7 retail pads up on Route 9. We've gone through a couple of hearings with the planning board at this point. We are in the middle of a peer review process that we have not received the comments on, both for stormwater, civil engineering, and for traffic. So we're waiting those comments back, and we'll be kind of working through that process with the planning board over the next couple of hearings. Just to give you guys a flavor of the project, it's like described in the filing. It's like I said, 7 retail buildings up on Route 9. This is not part of the project. This is actually the existing lodge that will stay. There's one larger grocer, specialty grocer here, and in the rear of the site there would be 5 residential buildings with 270 units total in those buildings. Generally, there'd be access off of Route 9 via right-in to the upper pads here. There'd be another right-in and right-out access through to Maple Ave off of Route 9, and would allow you to access the lower 3 retail pads as well as the specialty grocer. There'd be separate access off of Maple Ave for the lower residential building, and there'd be access off of Maple Ave for the 4 upper residential buildings. And I guess one thing to point out here is the topography of this site. If you've been out there, it's obviously there's about 100 feet of grade change across the site. So the way we've looked at this is to try and kind of create these pads. When I say upper pads and lower pads, it's because they are, very much separated by, multiple, tens of 20s of feet of grade change. And that, to do that, we did that, for twofold. Obviously, to mitigate the amount of earthworks here. There's ledge out there. We know that there's going to be, a lot of moving of soil. We're trying to make sure that that's mitigated, and we're not actually, we're trying to balance the site as much as possible here for that fact of that. And then obviously we have the jurisdictional areas which we're being sensitive to. Let's see, these are just a couple other views. This is the architectural's kind of renderings of what you could see here. You're standing essentially above Route 9, looking back east at the lower retail pads and the specialty grocer, and in the rear you have the residential buildings. The resource area here would be kind of off to your left, would be the bordering vegetated wetland. You'll just be standing above the beginning of the Meadowbrook stream here. It's just another shot up Maple Ave, just to give you a flavor of the project. And this is a busy diagram, but I thought worthwhile to kind of maybe zoom around on. This is the proposed project, and what I have done is in green is the proposed drainage. The blue and the purple, not as much your purview, but the water and sewer. But talking about drainage here for a minute, the existing site where it is paved and developed today all basically drains towards the lower, the southwest corner of the bordering vegetated wetland. There are, I believe, 2 culverts there's one culvert that outfalls into that BVW. All of that then outfalls across Route 9. Essentially, that stuff that drainage is all untreated. There's no modern practices. It's obviously an old site. So part of the project here would be to provide a new modern Mass DEP compliant stormwater systems. We've done some stormwater soil testing out there. Last year we went out and we poked a bunch of holes in the kind of the lower southwest corner of the site where we had the most opportunity for separation of groundwater and finding soils that were suitable for infiltration. We had done some geotechnical explorations up the hill and understand there's more ledge up there and less opportunities for infiltration. So what you're seeing here from a stormwater system perspective is really as the individual pads get built out, they'll have their own individual stormwater systems. Generally, when they're on the upper side of the site, those are detention, and then all the infiltrations really focus where we can actually get infiltration, separation of groundwater, good soils. We've done that testing. And then as far as the jurisdictional areas, we'll be keeping the isolated vegetated wetland, providing a buffer away from that. And then with the new connection here, we are close to the wetlands, but we are trying to provide buffers as we can to provide this connection here. I will say that going through the preliminary discussions with Mass DOT has very much dictated like where these accesses want to be. So they, what you're seeing here is kind of a, I guess, iteration of working with Mass DOT and identifying where we can connect, where we can have these right-in, right-outs for these individual pads, and how those work with sight lines and topography for the site. There's some flexibility within that, and obviously we're working with you guys to figure out what the best spot for that is.
Question, are you, with regards to the wetlands, are you adhering to our our bylaw with the 15 and 30 foot? 15 no disturb and 30 foot,
I do believe we have a couple areas we might need to make some massages to that, to make sure we have all that. I think we can make sure that all works. Obviously, we're here in front of you to kind of present preliminarily, and if any changes might happen, we will obviously make those changes.
yeah, that would be very important if we could see those setbacks adhered to on the wetland areas.
Certainly.
It doesn't look like you have it now based on what was shown on Billboard Drive or whatever that's called.
Yeah, I think, you know, to your point, I think over here we have a little work to do to massage that away from that area.
Right.
So we certainly will be looking at that as far as, we're also expecting a Mass DEP to have some comments, so we would like to basically take your comments, take Mass DEP comments, take comments we received through the planning board process and that peer review, and really kind of, you know, provide an updated set of drawings to you all, maybe not in an iterative fashion, but try and get you guys, you know, all your comments incorporated at once, so we're not coming back to you 4 or 5 times over with changes to plans. Hopefully we're gonna give you all that with everyone else's comments as well, as best we can, obviously, you know.
Of course, no, you have a lot going on, but I think that's very important. If you can follow our bylaw, would be very, very good.
Indeed. I mean, I was kind of ending here on this exhibit, and I mean, happy to continue to take questions from you guys, and we can go from there.
All right, Diane?
Okay, about the two vegetated wetlands, first the one that is farther north, there's a dark line to the south of it, with X's in it. What is that? Is that a fence?
On the proposed, you're saying? Oh, yeah, so that the wetland's actually kind of in the middle of the hill, essentially. So, you know, in order to put in that, this pad here, we're calling pad A, which is the specialty grocer.
Pad A.
Sorry if you can't really see my cursor, but that would be a fence and a small retaining wall to provide the access behind that building.
So that's a fence and a small retaining wall.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe the retaining wall?
It would probably be like a small block retaining wall. It's kind of like a Versalock wall, if you've ever seen something like that, or you know, the blocks are essentially 12 by 8, and they stack up. And at that height, it wouldn't need like geogrid reinforcing or anything. It would just be a typical gravity wall, essentially.
Okay, so that crosses between the 15-foot and the 30-foot lines.
Yeah, so I think that's one area we need to look at as well. I think to Mr. Polito's comment, that there might be some massaging there for that, and the awful, I guess calling it Billboard Drive is a good name for it.
And that would include, and those structures would include like guardrails, so if you had a guardrail or something on that side
Yeah,
of the road, it'd have to be at least 30 feet away.
I think we need to pull that in a little bit as a part of kind of coming back to you guys.
Okay. I'm looking now at the southern vegetated wetland. So I was there today just because I was having trouble looking at the map and understanding it.
Sure.
And so there's pavement right now, and then there's a lot of snow that's been pushed up against there. I guess that's where it always gets plowed. And then there is a pretty steep decline going down towards this isolated vegetated wetland.
Apologies, which wetland are you on at the?
This one would be,
Is that the C?
The lowest section closest to
The
like
lowest.
the body shop.
right,
Yeah, right there.
Right here, okay, okay, thank you.
pretty much to the south of the parking lot.
Yep.
Okay, so the lines were a little difficult for me to see, but I did color them in blue, green, and red so that I could tell what was what. And from what I can tell, There is a straight line here, nice thick gray line that looks like it is right at the edge of the wetland.
The existing edge of pave line here on the,
I don't know if that's an existing edge of pavement or not. I don't know what that is.
sorry, should I go to the other drawing?
What sheet is it?
Which page is it?
Page C 301? Is it 301? What is it?
So
It's gonna be on C 301 she's looking at.
So the thick gray line is like the limit of disturbance. It's more of a, it's not a feature. And then the darker gray with the black outline would be a proposed retaining wall.
Okay, so the limit of disturbance, meaning that you would have,
Like temporary limit of disturbance.
okay, so there would be something there to prevent erosion.
Yeah, so as a part of the project, we would have we have erosion control plans, at the bottom of the slopes where we have the limit of disturbance, we'd be installing
All right.
silt fence or silt socks, maybe some double rows where we have the potential for breakout and try to mitigate that. All along that edge, essentially, we'd have that kind of feature.
And then you said a retaining wall?
Yeah, so at some point, the grade wants to climb up, and we need a small retaining wall along the outside edge of the.
And that looks like it's right at the 15-foot line, or right near it.
Yeah, so essentially, what we were hoping to be able to do is, there's limited disturbance up to a point that's already been disturbed, and I think we'd like to try and hold that limited disturbance if we can, and then obviously work with you guys on making some massaging to the plan to get to where we need to be with the walls.
So,
Because the limit of a disturbance today is a lot of times, I'd say, much closer than the 30 and the 15.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And so even though that was done when Spags owned this property, it doesn't mean that it should be like that forever.
Certainly.
There might be a certain amount of repair work that can be done there.
Yeah, I think that there's an opportunity here for us to revegetate some of what was done before.
Yes.
Put in native plantings along there.
Right.
Even though it's temporary disturbance, we could, pull it back once we're done, and hopefully we're providing a net benefit to the wetlands rather than what was happening there today.
Some benefit, yes. And where would there be snow storage? Would it still be there?
So this roadway in general, and it's not going to be it's not a new public road, but it would be basically a private driveway that is accessible by anyone who wants to drive through there. This would be, plowed away from the wetlands and generally to spots that were outside the jurisdictional areas, landscaped areas that we can on the north and east side of this roadway, understanding that in some large events like we just had, there's going to be some amount of moving or trucking of snow in places.
I think the snow that you're referring to at where that curb cut is with the cowboy hats,
Yeah.
I think that's done by the state currently.
Well, actually coming from Maple Ave.
Okay.
The snow's pushed from from Maple Ave into the wetland and against that fence right now from that main parking lot.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that I'd have to take a look at.
Yeah. So I would hope that would not be a snow storage area.
No, it would not be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You have any questions?
Okay, a couple things. I looked quickly. I mean, there's a million pages here, but
Sure.
your stormwater management, you put Cultex underground, and then are you going to retention pond where those are going to run into? Where's that water going to go once they're in there?
So it's just essentially where we are able to have done soil testing and prove that we can infiltrate. We've done Coltec chambers or similar. It doesn't have to be Coltec, but basically arch type chambers, stone bottom, free draining on the bottom. We have outlet control structures with weirs and low flow orifices that would control that the water in the infiltration systems, and that would outlet to the existing outfall into the wetlands after that. So only in large storm events would you get any outflow
So,
to.
so there'll be no retention pond actually slowing the water come out of those Caltex, the way they're going from up on the hill all the way down to where these wetlands are.
So they would, those are, you know, even though they aren't ponds that you can see from the surface, those are, the ones up the hill are essentially large concrete or chambers that are lined that don't infiltrate. Those would have those outlet control, you know, structures that hold back the water and slowly leak it out to the wetlands from there. So like, essentially think of it as a really small, you know, faucet that's got a big bathtub behind it that essentially it takes a while for that water to leak out. So we'd be reducing the peak flows to the wetlands via the ponds upstream.
Where would the water enter?
Where would the?
Yeah, are we talking about this bottom wetland? Or the top and the bottom?
So there's essentially 3 places today that the water goes on site today or off site. So there's a little bit of water that goes to Mass DOT's infrastructure on Route 9. There's a little bit of water that goes to Maple or Oak Street, but not much. The majority of the drainage from the site that comes off the site goes to the BVW in the southwest corner. A small portion goes to Maple Ave. So our design system essentially tries to mimic the existing conditions and say, all right, we'll send about the same amount of water to all these different places, but reduce the peak rates at the same time. So essentially, I'd say 75% of the water is still going to go to where it was to the BVW here in the southwest corner, because that's where it was going today already.
Okay. And how would it be released into that wetland without causing any erosion?
It would be, there's an outfall there today. We'd be utilizing that same outfall. You know, maybe it needs to have some upgraded aprons put in, but it's generally the amount of water from a peak rate standpoint would be less than it was going through that pipe.
My concern is that you're gonna have all this water that right now it soaks into the ground, it soaks into the gravel, soaks into the ground. Now when you put this into all these different systems, all that water is not gonna soak in the ground like it used to do, as much as it's doing now. It's gonna have a lot more water running down to that wetland. Okay, is that wetland gonna be able to handle that extra water without causing flooding or problems? Exactly, if the stuff that's on top, your storm drains, whereas that's gonna go into the same system, correct?
So I guess we could think about it as 2 different types of systems. We have some that are detention because we just can't get infiltration where there's ledge or there's high groundwater. So that's in the kind of the upper pads here on the resi, and then the upper pads on the restaurant retail pads over here. Where we can get infiltration, we've done that testing. It's more on the lower residential pads. Those are downstream of the detention. So as the detention is releasing water over time, it's still going into those infiltration systems before it then has an opportunity to go into the wetlands. So, you know, our analysis is looking at the that wetland system and making sure that it's not getting inundated by more water than it had prior to us coming here and doing anything.
Okay.
All set?
Yep.
And one more question related to the isolated wetland. How, with all this grading above, and how are we gonna ensure that this wetland is still intact and doesn't get cut off or choked off?
So yeah,
Is that been looked at?
It's a great question. Yeah, so what we were trying to do is send the same amount of water there as it had before, because we don't want to really change the characteristics of that isolated vegetated wetland. So our analysis has been done to try and keep that, even if it may not be the exact characteristic of runoff that gets there, it's still the same amount of water, ideally, is getting to that isolated vegetated wetland. I understand that we are reshaping the topography here, and it's going to change slightly, but the goal being that we're not going to dry up that wetland or over inundate it. And as a part of that, making sure that it basically operates how it's operating today.
So on C406, and I don't know what this is, it looks like it's some sort of a rip-rap swale above that.
Yeah, so at the base of that hill, you know, we have like kind of a French drain more or less to try and capture some of that runoff. And I think some of the benefit of that is we are able to kind of pick and choose how much water gets to go to that by having that, and we can send some water to a different system rather than the isolated vegetated wetland.
Has your wetland scientist looked at all that and make sure that he's comfortable with that? Is there a report or anything? Can we have a report?
Yeah, I mean, the analysis of the drainage is in the stormwater report. He has looked at the isolated wetland, you know, in the field. We could obviously set up a site walk with you guys to walk it when there's not 2 feet of snow on the ground, hopefully. And kind of walk around that and look at the characteristics of that today.
So, just so you know, that's a concern that we have to make sure that that's taken care of and not dried up.
Yep.
Right, Chris?
Yeah, not to keep harping on that, but I mean, it's 100 feet difference in elevation from the north of the property down to the south of the property, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot of, admittedly, a lot of the surface now is impervious, but you're gonna make a lot more impervious than what's already there. So, this guy, I knew you didn't have a DEP number yet, so I knew we had a little bit of time to keep
Right.
reviewing the stormwater plan, but that was a big concern. This is just the stormwater, and how do you keep from overwhelming the wetland, so.
So with that in mind, trees absorb a lot of water when there's a rain event, right? And it's really healthy because it recharges slowly, and because a lot of it goes into the atmosphere through leaves and such. Around that isolated vegetated wetland, is there any opportunity to keep as many trees as possible?
Yeah, I think, you know, our goal there is to, you know, and then maybe we have to move that wall like we talked about a little bit, but our goal is to try and essentially not really touch that area from a development perspective, obviously.
You're not putting in lawn?
No, we're not regrading that area at all, really. We know it's a benefit to both the project and the community. We don't want to kind of change that. We're trying to essentially almost kind of like make it a feature of the site that you have this kind of unique, you know, wetland system in the middle of the site. I know it's isolated, but you know, we're thinking about like a little bit of a kind of an overlook on the residential side to kind of outside of the buffer areas, no touch areas, to be able to have folks kind of look at that and kind of enjoy that space. We're not regrading that area.
Not regrading it, you're not cutting down all those trees?
No, there's no planned development there. You know, it is, I'll zoom in here, and, you know, we're trying to keep the limit of grading outside that 30-foot no-touch area. There'll be some regrading over here. You know, we can maybe reshape that a little bit, but generally trying to keep, you know, a large swath of that as it was.
Okay, Diane?
Yeah.
Alea?
What is that, what is the grade of that slope? The the extensive one between the upper residential complex and the isolated vegetated wetland?
It's like a 2-to-1 slope in some places at the max.
We'll sometimes see that, especially with that amount of slopage, that wider breaks are put in, just so that it can kind of, any water that gets going down that hill is gonna fly into that wetland.
Yeah, so I think some of that is we're trying to do like that kind of a French drain at the bottom of that hill as well. But we can look into that as well.
What is the proposal for the final, what will the final, I know the architectural photos included kind of that slope is being vegetated with trees, is that?
Yeah, we're trying to green the site up as much as we can. Obviously, we know that, you know, with the amount of impervious development we're doing here, you know, from a, you know, residences living here and around the area, we want to make this, you know, these pictures may say what it looks like in 5 years or 8 years, not day one,
Yeah,
obviously.
that's probably 20 to 30 with the size of those trees.
It's an architectural rendering, and we're taking some liberties, obviously. But the idea would be that we're planting a lot of trees back where we can, and as we can, around the residential buildings and the retail buildings.
So that slope will be, is the proposal to vegetate that slope with a tree mix or a shrub mix or a?
I have to look at the landscape plans that I don't have in
Okay.
front of me, but there would be some plantings on that slope. There's likely to be some areas where we need to have like geogrid reinforcing or something like that, or like a jute mesh, to get those plantings to kind of, take in the first couple of years.
Yeah.
So those will be, I think they're detailed on the landscape plan. I have to look at that and kind of give you some more details next time we speak.
Yeah.
So the more trees and shrubs that you put in there, the better that slope works with the vegetated wetland.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think, even from a leasability perspective, no one wants to look at a rock slope or anything in the back of their unit, so I think from that perspective, Sam has incentive to try and make sure that thing is looking and, green as it can be.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the wetland report from, what was it, Lucas Environmental?
Lucas, yeah.
Was, maybe I just didn't click all of the links have lots of pages, so maybe I missed it, but, yeah, making sure that we receive the wetland report. I know the state typically has like the bordering vegetated wetland delineation pages that can be submitted, so if Lucas has those available.
I believe it might have been tucked into the report, and it
Okay.
might be
It
hard to
said
find.
one of the narratives references a letter, but I didn't see the letter attached to the
Okay,
narrative.
we'll make sure
so.
that they have it, so if we didn't provide it, we'll make sure you get that.
It does look like I'm not sure, the letter is dated December of 2024. I'm not sure when the delineation was conducted, but the commission would need to consider a waiver. We have a winter delineation limitation, or under our bylaw. So should the wetland have been delineated during our winter delineation kind of stoppage, the commission would need to issue a waiver associated with that.
Yeah, I can get you the date and when it was delineated. I would imagine that should have been in the letter, but if it's not, we'll get that over to you.
And then, adding those actual locations for snow storage would be like clear cut, where is that gonna go? And then developing a policy related, something similar to the O&M plan for the stormwater related to like when snow needs to start getting trucked off site. That, it might be an inchage thing of, if we get as much snow as we got,
Right.
that's when, but probably less than that would be the hard cut.
Yeah, we can have a plan that shows the snow areas and the jurisdictional areas very clearly for you guys to
Yes,
look at.
that'd be great. I think that's all I have for now.
With all the site work and all the material that's gonna be moved there, is there a sequencing plan of work, construction, and a sediment control plan associated with this?
Yeah, so we have an overall sediment control plan. We don't have a phased plan as of yet, but we do know that this will be a phased project. There's no way this is all being built at one time. I think, generally it's gonna be, some months of, creating the pads, infrastructure for all of the various pads. They essentially, from a utility standpoint, they kind of share trunk lines. You kind of have to build out all the infrastructure for drain, water, sewer, gas, electric for all the various pads in the roadways that we're creating. And I believe, Sam, you think the retail would probably go first, right? And then the resi to follow from a sequencing standpoint?
Well, as far as site work, I think it's a bit of a mix because you're moving so much material around.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think vertical may be different, but site work, it's very interconnected.
Yeah, because you basically have to cut some of the hill for the resi to create some of the pads, so you're not trucking a bunch of soil off.
To create a balance, that site is almost balanced, so there'll be little material going off export and not much material coming in. And that'll require, the cuts and the placement and compaction on all the different areas. So there's a lot of, I would say from a site work perspective, high to low.
And that leads to a lot of erosion potential filling in of even the isolated in the lower wetland. So I think that's the phasing and the sediment control, erosion control associated
Absolutely.
with that construction is very important and really should be looked at. And that's gonna be something we really wanna see a lot of detail on. Because if you, and you know, if you come in there, and I know you need to move your dirt, you need to do what you need to do, but during the course of that, you need to make sure everything's stabilized. Whether it's jute netting or tackifiers and seeds and different things, it needs to be done.
Yeah,
So we just need to see that.
yeah.
Yeah, that will be a big concern with even just moving the material from the top of the site to the bottom of the site, making sure that none is getting, especially with Route 9 right there, none of that dirt is getting transferred to the, I'm not sure how, if it's possible to move the material across the site.
On site,
Okay.
yeah.
So you'll need to have, temporary basins, I'm sure,
Yep.
and
there'll be like diversion dikes and temporary basins that we can kind of show you how
we
that.
need, yeah, that's very
basin
important. I mean,
perspective.
we've seen sites like this go before, and it's not been pretty.
Yeah, it's not one open pit right at once.
No.
It's gonna be phased
Right,
throughout.
so that's a concern. So our concerns are the location, the bylaw with the 30-foot and 15-foot, no disturb. We want that to be adhered to, and, making sure those wetlands are protected, and the isolated one is not changed, and it's still fed by the runoff. That's there now.
Also, it would be important to have lighting as well as dark skies compliant as possible.
Yeah, I believe as a part of our planning board kind of review in requirements that all the lighting will need to have be dark sky compliant. It has the cutoffs for the so you don't have light spilling onto abutting properties, in his case wetlands as well. I imagine that's going to be reviewed as a part of the peer review process with the planning board, but we obviously show you that as well on our plans as we submit them to you.
Thank you. All set?
I think that's all I have.
Anybody in the audience have any questions or concern?
We don't have much time. We're good.
Okay, so, all right, anybody else have any questions tonight? So you guys will be coming back to see us in March, I would assume? You'll ask for a continuance?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, that would be great, thank you.
Okay. You know our concerns, so we will, hopefully you can address them. I'm sure you're going to have many others with the other boards, so we'll see you in March.
I appreciate
Okay,
it, thank you so much.
thank you much.
Thank you.
All right, so on to new and old business.
Counting one closed RDA?
One closed RDA,
Plan
and one continued RDA, and one no-show.
Yes.
So we have 57 Bayview, 221 South Quincy, 223 Hockey
Yeah.
Turnpike.
Yeah, so 57 Bayview, 221, 223 Hartford Turnpike, and that is the only three that we have to make a determination on this evening. So, 57 Bayview, they were just repairing the wall, no trees would be cut. We could make a condition that no trees be cut, but I didn't see any issues with that.
Nope.
I'm not sure if, typically with wall repair, we see that it's surveyed. I'm not sure if would be something that we'd want to see for this
They're not
project if they're not
continuing it.
proposing to,
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
not moved.
move it, yeah.
And just put the stipulation, it's to be done during drawdown.
Yeah, that's, okay. So, I'd like to make a motion. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the notice of intent filed by, for 57 Bayview with the condition that the work be performed during the lake drawdown.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
221 South Quincy.
Yeah, just writing down.
Yep.
So on 221 South Quinsigamon, we had a couple of conditions, back of the property, make sure it's cleaned up, and the sign denoting the resource area.
And, yeah, remove fill from the fill.
The
from
the property to
excavation
clean
from
up,
site.
was there actually fill, or was it just trash?
Well, I mean, from the excavation of the footings, so remove the fill.
Okay,
Remove they're gonna remove the site, the shed and any trash that was still located.
And the agent will be looking at that.
Yeah. And attach some signage to the fence.
I got
correct?
that, yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we issue, we approve a notice of,
Order conditions.
notice, an order of conditions, sorry, for 221A South Quinsigamon Avenue, for the removal of a shed and construction of a garage with the condition that, the property be cleaned up now, that the fill is removed from the excavation, that there's a sign denoting the resource area. I think that's all we had, and that the agent be involved.
And that there's to be
Post-construction.
no dumping, no debris in.
Yeah, the signage denoting the resource area with no dumping or debris.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye. One more.
All right, and then lastly, 23 Hartford Turnpike, signs for snow storage, fences to keep encroach. We didn't have a condition for that, I don't think.
No, that's on the plan.
It's on the plan now. Signage for the boundary. We talked about a certification of a vernal pool. And then dark sky compliant lighting.
We might want to see that an invasive species management plan is
Okay.
either submitted or followed.
They didn't submit one to us now, right?
They have not, no. It was
They can hire
identified,
someone to look at, see if there's
Okay.
anything there.
it was identified during the ORAD process that there are several species, invasive species located on site, so there is something to manage.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we issue an order of conditions for 223 Hartford Turnpike, with the condition that they file and submit and follow an invasive species management plan, that the lights be moved as far from the parking lot as, from the wetlands as possible to keep a distance, and they be dark sky compliant, and that they certify the vernal pool.
The potential vernal
The
pool.
potential vernal pool, thank you. And the signage added for the boundary of the wetlands.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Okay, sorry. There are,
Certificates of
3
compliance.
requests for certificate of compliance. I would only recommend that 2 be signed this evening. The first one is 285-1398 for 45 Arita Road. A certificate of compliance was already issued for this property, but they're requesting that a reissuance be submitted so that they can get it recorded at the Registry of Deeds. The original certificate was issued in 2007, so they cannot locate a copy that can be certified or registered, recorded, whatever. So that is 1398. The second one I would recommend that be signed is 285-1997 for 7 Temple Court. This was a proposal on the peninsula of Temple Court to construct a single-family home for Mr. Paul Valenti. The home has been constructed. We have Vincent and I, the stormwater coordinator, have been out to the site to verify that the stormwater infrastructure has been installed to the plan. We also noted that the vegetation that was to be planted was installed and was growing successfully as of now. It was installed prior to winter having set in. So I would recommend that that one be signed as well. I think I need a motion for those.
Motion to approve those certificates of compliance?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve 2 certificates of compliance, one at 45 Areta Road and one at 7 Temple Court.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I did just want to note that the other one, 315R Prospect Street and 83R Hill Street was the construction of Ross and Hill Dam.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is the project has been completed. You can see that there's a dam there now. It's rather large, hard to miss. We're just gonna wait until we can do a better site inspection and just verify that everything is grown in appropriately, before a certificate is issued. So we'll probably wait till March or April when we can see the dam and not a pile of snow.
April.
Our last order of business is correspondence. We received a letter from Patricia and Brian Lake to the commission related to the spectacular project at 335 Maple Avenue. It's a rather long letter, so but it details some concerns related to kind of the history of the site and other things. It is available in the drive, should you like to review it.
Included the clear cutting that took place like 10 years ago, too.
Yes, yeah, that I think had been unpermitted clear cutting at the time. So, yeah, it's somewhat grown in, but those are all pretty quick trees. That's all I got.
Anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are